Today on CityCast Nashville, we're talking all things women's basketball with former Metro Council member Nancy VanReece. The Athletes Unlimited tournament brought some of the best players in the world to town, and the energy in the arena proved that this city is ready for more. We'll talk about the push for a local WNBA franchise and why all signs point to Nashville being the center of the women's basketball universe. It's Tuesday, March 11th. I'm your producer, Daniel Sumstine, and this is what Nashville's talking about. March is officially here, which means one thing: it's the best time of year for us basketball fans. The madness is about to take over. But before we dive into the chaos of tournament season, I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about something really special that just happened here in Nashville, and that is the Athletes Unlimited basketball tournament. It sounds like you were a very instrumental part of bringing that to Nashville. And so I would love to hear just how that experience went and what the tournament looked like for the players.
First of all, longtime listener, first-time caller. It is my joy right now. With everything going on in the world, you can always count on basketball. And it's funny because you talk about March Madness. I'm thrilled to know that you can watch, particularly, women's sports year-round now, but basketball moving from AU Pro Hoops and Unrivaled League into the conference play and then into March Madness and then straight into the draft and the WNBA season. You get just a breather before all of a sudden you're back in college hoops again. So it's a year-round obsession of mine. So it seems like there's a game going on somewhere around the world on any given moment. I was pleased to have been part of a committee to ensure that Athletes Unlimited had all of its questions addressed regarding their consideration of coming to Nashville. They are guided by a player committee. There are 3 or 4 players that make informed decisions in regard to where they want to stay. But we had a little bit of a bump in the road along the way that some folks might not know about, where right around the time that we were having the Nazi visitors in town marching right down the sidewalk of Municipal Auditorium, that kind of spooked us a little bit, trying to make sure that the players understood the commitment for safety. The police department, the mayor's department, Councilmember Coupin and others had meetings with AU to assure them that Nashville was a welcoming place, and we were able to get over that hump. But there was a lot of community involvement with AU and the players leading up to their visit into town. There was a basketball camp or 2 that took place in area high schools. So yeah, I'm flattered by people saying that I had a lot to do with it. It was like, man, I was one of very many people, particularly a woman by the name of Sheila Gibson, who I actually went to Dallas to see AU basketball in Dallas to see kind of how it looked and worked. And she was determined after just one game in Dallas that she said, oh my goodness, Nashville's going to blow them away. We just need to get them there. I sat next to somebody who is a big Las Vegas Aces fan, as am I. And she came down and she lived in Nashville the entire month of February just because of the games. At one of the after parties, she said, I met somebody today who flew 9 hours from Hawaii because she had always wanted to come to Nashville but could never figure out the right time to come. And she's a basketball fan, so she came in February. I mean, you live in Hawaii and you come to Nashville in February? I mean, you're a fan. So
Totally.
Like, could you come back in May when it's pretty?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I read that Nashville crushed the previous attendance records. It looks like it was up 96% in viewership. It was up 89% in attendance. And I know that you went to almost all of the games. So how would you describe the crowds that came out for these games? Were they hardcore women's basketball fans?
Yes, and are now, right? And so I think that one of the neat things that I really enjoyed, and you say that I went to all the games. I did actually attend 19 of the 24 games in person. The other 5 I watched on TV. So seeing the types of folks that were there really reflected the city in a way that I haven't seen a lot of events do. The last night when we had the API dancers at halftime, no one was leaving their seat. And Daniel, I looked out over the crowd and everyone was just transfixed out of respect for those dancers. I think I was visibly emotional out of, this is my city. There were all shades of people, all ages of people, dads there with their little girls, moms there with their little boys. I mean, there were gay people, straight people, Asian people, Black people, Latino people. The work that we did with the HBCU universities and with the Divine Nine and with Pride Night, I mean, all of that work, everybody showed up. But it was that moment when I realized that it wasn't until they were done dancing that everybody got up and, went to the bathroom, got their Coke, whatever it was that they were going to go do. But have you ever been to a game where at halftime, everybody just stayed sitting? I mean, that was Nashville, right? It was kind of like a Bluebird moment, like, right, performers.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, holy cow, that was something. And something that we can absolutely grow on in season 2.
My favorite place in Nashville to take friends from out of town is the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. It makes me feel so proud to be able to show off our city's country music roots. But y'all, it's not just a tourist attraction. Did you know that local kids always visit free at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum? Kids age 18 and under who are residents of Davidson and bordering counties, including Cheatham, Robertson, Rutherford, Sumner, Williamson, and Wilson, can take advantage of all the engaging and educational activities the museum has to offer this spring at no cost. Plus, they can bring 2 accompanying adults who get 25% off admission. I love the museum's Taylor Swift Education Center. They've got music, dance, art programs, and on Fridays this month, you can check out Irish step dancing, a musical instrument petting zoo, and plenty of other fun activities. Learn more and plan your visit at countrymusichaloffame.org/local-kids.
Yeah, well, you talk about growing, like it really just gives hope to Nashville being a future hub for both women and men's basketball. I mean, we've been joking on the podcast this week how Nashville's like quietly the basketball center of the universe. And just like, yeah, really, really hearing that the diversity of the crowd is so hopeful for the future of the sport in this town. Speaking of like basketball in this town and the future, Vanderbilt's women's basketball program has also seen some historic moments this season, including Michaela Blake's all-time scoring record of 55 points as a freshman. So how would you say her performance has elevated the program of Vanderbilt basketball? And then also, like, what does this success say about the growth of women's basketball in Nashville?
First, I don't want to talk about Blake's without talking about Pierre. I mean, I think that Camille Pierre and her success this season is just as exciting because, honestly, I mean, Blake's assists were because Camille put it in the hoop, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you have to have a point guard has to have somebody with skill to pass it to. And the fact that Pierre is a sophomore and Blake's is a freshman, we have a whole lot of fun left ahead at Vanderbilt. I've been a season ticket holder for Vanderbilt for a while now, and it's had its ups and downs. It's very hard to recruit at Vanderbilt because you have to have the academics to be able to play there. And so it makes it sort of like this kind of Ivy League school in the middle of the SEC. And so to get commitments from solid players that have the academics to uphold it was just, we're in a new season at Vanderbilt to make that happen. The investment that Vanderbilt has made in their practice facilities. I understand that the AU players had access to those facilities as well, that we have an opportunity to be able to really show that the investment in women's basketball is real. We're not just sort of imagining it, that real dollars have gone into securing a future for collegiate athletes that, and sure, eventually we'll talk about the Tennessee Summit, but If we get to 2028, and we don't know, we might end up in 29 or whatever, but have you done the math? I mean, a freshman this year will be in the draft in 28.
What a story that could be.
I know, right? So I think that's fairly exciting as well. So
absolutely. Well, yeah, let's get into that. I mean, as we know, Nashville has been rumored to be the next potential WNBA expansion city with the Nashville Summit, which is just an epic name. Honestly, it's so perfect. And I'm curious, like, based on your knowledge of how successful the tournament was and just the rise of women's basketball, do you think this city is ready for a WNBA team?
Yes, and has been for a long time. Is Tennessee ready for a WNBA team? Yes, and we have been for a long time. A lot of folks probably are unaware that Nashville has had a professional women's basketball team. The Nashville Noise played at Nashville Municipal Auditorium, and I actually still have some ticket stubs.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was taking place, the ABL, American Basketball League, was just getting started at the same time that the WNBA was getting started, and only one could win out. And because of the NBA's kind of big brother opportunity to be able to invest in the startup of 97's league, you began seeing players kind of pulled out of the ABL into the WNBA. So it did not complete that season. If you go to a Preds game and you go down to the Hall of Fame that they have down there, there's a whole display talking about the Nashville Noise. And it's an interesting part of Nashville's history. I get kind of people say, oh, it'll be our first professional team. It's like, no, not really. And there's this semi-pro team also that's been playing in Nashville for a while. We have a lot of women playing sports that are getting paid for it, right? But as far as having a league here, then this would be the first. I believe in inevitability of the Tennessee Summit getting a bid. The question is, for me, is not if, but when.
Just for any of our listeners who might not know what that franchise is named after, can you kind of explain who that is in honor of?
Sure. So Summit is with 2 M's and 2 T's. So Summitt is Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt was the longtime coach at the University of Tennessee, revered for her work. She also was a basketball player as well. And learning more about her legacy is something that any Tennessean should know, but particularly Nashvilleians. It's her ability not only to coach the game and to really produce a lot of world-class basketball players, but when you look at the leaders that she produced, Kara Lawson, Marcel Marciniak, obviously Candace Parker, and countless others, it's the leadership and the skills that she had for building confident, smart, young women, whether they continued to play basketball or went into business or the workplace or raised a family, whatever it is that they chose to do. You won't talk to a single one of them without saying that Pat Summitt influenced their ability to succeed. And to be able to have a team named after that kind of person is particularly exciting. Not every day do you name a team after a person, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know, the Partons, that didn't sound right. But the idea that her son and the foundation that she left behind and the University of Tennessee all agreed with that, it's particularly exciting. If you don't know who Pat Summitt is, then you're probably not listening to this podcast. But if you want to try to explain some of the depth of her reach, then absolutely read more about her. One of the exciting things is not just the name and not just the ownership and not just the location. And there's a lot of big names that say also owners. I mean, people can throw whatever zeros to try to participate as being an owner. But Candace Parker's involvement, according to the press release, is beyond ownership. It's ensuring that the team would be set up in a way that Pat Summitt would want a team to be set up. Holy cow. No one else can really make that statement, right?
We've seen the WNBA, especially in the past 2 to 3 years, really just explode in terms of popularity, which is incredible. And Kobe Bryant was my hero growing up and still is, honestly, to this day. And I think one of the most like profound and lasting impacts that he was making before his life was tragically cut short was his advocacy for women's basketball. And so I think sometimes it takes the Pat Summits, it takes the Kobe Bryants of the world to really push the game further.
Sure. And what's interesting to me is that for those of us who've been watching since 97, the level of play, the intensity of play, the physicality of play has always been part of the WNBA. And I think that we're finally being able to get enough breadth to where you can honor the originals, if you will, the Swoops, the Leslies, the Lobos, I could go on, Weatherspoon, but I am always surprised to hear people. It's like, oh, well, the game got better. It's like, no, actually, the game got better because there was investment made in player development, but the game has always been really, really good. There's just really hard to find it and to watch it and to understand it and to develop that. And so, yes, in the last year, almost exactly, there's been hey, we should watch that. And the eyes have turned. You don't realize that there has been this fan base that has been doing this since 1997. To say, everything's just all of a sudden taken off because of one or two players. No, but at the same time, you think, okay, how many years has it been since 1997? Well, how old are these players? They grew up saying, there's a thing I could do professionally. And this is the first generation that has seen that opportunity. So when you hear Caitlin Clark talk about Maya Moore, yeah, because she had her poster on her wall, right? When you see Diana Taurasi retiring and you realize that Coach Ralph from Vanderbilt played with Diana Taurasi at UConn, right? So it's like, holy cow. It's like these last 20 years, there's been a momentum that a single player or two or three, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark did not do this on their own. This has been 20 years of momentum. Holy cow, I'm so glad to see those generational talents come at a time where investment is being made so that we know about them. How many other opportunities have there been where you just didn't even know about them? So I'm thrilled as a super fan, obviously, to have witnessed all of it. But holy cow, I can't wait for the next 10 years. It's going to be amazing.
So what would your message to young girls and women in Nashville who dream of working in sports, whether that's on the court, in leadership, or in shaping the future of the game, what would your message to them be?
Gosh, I wish that whenever I was in school trying to figure out what I was going to do, that I knew that sports management or sports involvement, was a job. And I think that there's more and more opportunities for people to understand. When I look, and do yourself a favor, next time you're watching any game on TV, and you have all those sports photographers, count how many women. There's just not enough sports photographers. It's like, come on, man, let's get some more women sports photographers. There's fashion and catering and back management and promotion and foundation management, and all of those things all tie into sports. And so whatever it is that you love, if you want to tie it to whether it's basketball or soccer or hockey or field hockey or softball or volleyball, whatever it is that you love and you have a skill, find a way to incorporate both of them, because now is the time, particularly for young women, to have that opportunity and to go for it. I wish I could have.
I mean, I can hear the passion in your voice. Did you play basketball growing up, or what kind of drew you to the game?
Well, I'm old, but I played high school basketball, both public school basketball and church league, which is very competitive in the state of Oklahoma. But in the state of Oklahoma, in the early 80s, we were still prohibited from playing full court basketball. They were scared that something evil was going to happen if we ran the whole court and back and forth. So I played the traditional half court 6-on-6. You should YouTube it. It's fun. There's pictures of it. But it was, I think, Missouri or Oklahoma were one of the last states that decided to kind of go ahead and go 5-on-5 after all. But what you have is you have a team of 6, 3 are guards and 3 are forwards. And there's the half court line. So I was a forward, so I got to shoot the ball. Right? I never had to learn defense. That would not work today. But what you do is you stand at the half court line and wait for your guards to get the ball to you. So I was teasing a business friend of mine. I said, sometimes, I think it was Hal Cato I was talking about. Sometimes I find myself again on the half court line saying, give me the ball. Just give me the ball. Right? So that's, I think, probably spilled over into my political career as well. But it's fun because I'm able to say, yeah, I averaged 23 points a game. It's like, well, yeah, because all you had to do is shoot. So see, that was my experience with basketball, but it was a long time ago.
I love it. I love it. I played up through high school as well growing up, and it's just such an incredible game. It's so fun and can have such a great impact on your community, as we've seen with the tournament here.
I mean, it's not only, just the playing of the game and the physical exercise, but it's that teamwork. It's the stuff before and after. But for me in particular, and I've heard others as well tell the story of, particularly as a young woman, having a time with her father shooting hoops, and that involvement of like that father-daughter collaboration that particularly in the 80s, just like, what do you do to connect with your dad? In fact, I was at an AU game and I was sitting there on the court and I said, God, because my father passed away last year. And I'm like, God, I would do anything to have him sitting beside me right now. So yeah, it's
wow.
Girl dads out there, go for it.
You've just been phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Thank you for bringing the game of basketball to Nashville, being such a huge part of that. And yeah, I hope all of our listeners out there will go check out some WNBA games, check out the AU tournament.
Yes, they made the announcement. We were able to confirm that the agreement was renewed. And so they will be back for the 26th season in February. You can go to their website at ausports.com and put down a deposit to save your season ticket. I think it's just $50 and you'll save your season ticket spot for next year. So block off the month of February. You know where you'll be.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Nancy. Great talking with you today.
Appreciate the opportunity.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Later.